Good evening. I'm a Hellhound, and welcome back to the horror and metal. Who cares? I know you're probably thinking, "Oh no, not another top 10 video." But what can I say? I'm obsessed with this listing crap lately, and there's nothing else to do on a Friday night, so hell with it. Yeah, it's gonna be my top 10 favorite third albums. Metal albums. Yeah, the band's whatever the band's third release was. I already looked at my top 10 debut albums and my top 10 sophomore albums a while back. And I mentioned that I might as well go ahead and look at the third albums in my last video, the channel announcements. So, yeah, why not? So, let's go ahead and do it. So, all right, yeah, my top 10 favorite third full-length studio releases by these bands. All right, so number 10, it's going to be Tomb of the Mutilated by Cannibal Corpse. Yeah, one of my favorite death metal bands, one of my favorite death metal albums. Of course, it has the hit Hammer, Smash, Fuzz. Yeah, I think they had some of the best, most memorable riffs on this album. Bob Rouse and Jack Owen and all the rest of them were very creative. Alex Webster is my favorite death metal bassist. He's a great songwriter. Chris Barnes, his low gutturals were just on point here. Paul Mazurkowicz is drumming. Yeah, just all killer. No filler. Lots of great songs. So yeah, Tomb of the Mutilated by Cannibal Corpse, my 10th favorite third metal album. Number 9 is going to be Covenant by Morbid Angel, another one of my favorite death metal albums. And I can't decide between this and Altars of Madness when it comes to my favorite Morbid Angel album. I don't know. I think it might have to be a tie because I like them both so much. And I really like Gateways to Annihilation with Steve Tucker as well. But when it comes to the David Vincent albums, it's got to be either this or Altars. Altars probably had my favorite of his vocal performances, though. But I think this might have some of my favorite Trey Adsigto guitar work. Trey Adsigto is my second favorite death metal guitarist next to Chuck Schuldiner. But yeah, it's a great album. I've reviewed this on my channel before, so check it out for more info. Covenant by Morbid Angel. Number 8, Among the Living by Anthrax. This was their third release and their second to feature vocalist Joey Belladonna and bassist Frank Bello. And some of their best work. This is probably their most well-known album. This is most people's favorite. It has kind of all their biggest hits on it, except for maybe Madhouse, which was on their last album, Spreading the Disease. This one's got Among the Living and Caught in a Mosh, which is a fan favorite. I think my favorite song might be Indians. I just love that breakdown, that Dan Spitz guitar solo. Yeah, some of my favorite Scott Ian and Dan Spitz riffs around here, and Joe Belladonna's vocals, those high notes he hits were top notch as always, just killer. Yeah, great album. Among the Living. It's actually not my favorite Anthrax album. I think I prefer Spreading the Disease and Persistence of Time. But this is probably my third favorite. It was the first album I ever bought by them. I used to have it on cassette tape. I still do, actually. And I listen to it like crazy. Yeah, especially back in high school. All right, so number 7 is Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. Yeah, you knew this had to be on here. This is most people's favorite. It's actually not my favorite Iron Maiden album. That would probably be Power Slave for sure. But it's still a great album, of course. It's got Hallowed Be Thy Name on it. Any album that has Hallowed Be Thy Name is automatically a great album for that song alone. Yeah, that alone makes it the best. I've heard Run to the Hills and the title track way too often. I'm kind of sick of those songs. I did wear this album out. I used to have this on cassette back in the day, too. Yeah, this and Master of Puppets were constantly in my player, and I just listened to them like crazy. But yeah, it's a great album. It's the first to feature vocalist Bruce Dickinson, the air raid siren, whose powerful pipes would front several albums after this, and he's one of my favorite vocalists for sure. There's a second to feature guitarist Adrian Smith. And yeah, their songwriting was great back then. It still is. I'm going to be seeing them in October. Can't wait. Up the Irons. Yeah, Number of the Beast. My 7th favorite third album from a metal band. So number 6 would be Rain in Blood by Slayer. I've talked about this album a lot on this channel as well. So, but yeah, it's one of their best. I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite. It's kind of close on between this one and their first two. Yeah, Show No Mercy and Hell Awaits. It's hard to decide between those three because they're just all perfection as far as I'm concerned. Just thrash metal masterpieces. Just one gem after another. But yeah, of course, it does have Angel of Death, which is one of the best thrash metal songs ever, I think. Yeah, so evil, just so demonic, so aggressive, so violent and venomous. Some of my favorite Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman riffs and solos. Tom Araya, the bass player and vocalist, was still the voice of hell back then. Dave Lombardo, my favorite drummer. His beats are just sick. And yeah, so many great songs. Yeah, of course, there's also Necrophobic and Altar of Sacrifice, and of course the huge hit "Raining Blood," probably their most well-known, popular song. And I'm still not sick of that song. It still gives me pumped every time. I've seen Slayer live twice, and both times they just tore it up. Especially when they played songs off this awesome album, which has always been one of my favorite third albums by any band. All right, number 5, Long Live Rock and Roll by Rainbow, which is their last album with the metal master himself, Ronnie James Dio, one of my favorite vocalists of all time, and one of my all-time heroes. He was one of my idols. I love watching him in interviews. He was just so like intelligent and wise and just so well-spoken and just so awesome. Just such a cool guy, you know. But yeah, I mean, Ronnie James Dio teamed up with the guitarist Richie Blackmore from Deep Purple. How can you go wrong? Short answer, you can't. And this album is a testament to that. There's so many great songs. The title track, which is awesome. And also Gates of Babylon, which has that awesome keyboard intro. Just so haunting and just so visceral. And oh man, it just gets me, it really, really moves me every time I hear it. Very compelling. Just very, very intricate. Yeah, some of their best songwriting was on here. And yeah, Gates of Babylon is probably my favorite song they did. I think overall I might prefer their last album, Rising, but it's very close, you know. And yeah, this is the last one to feature Dio, but yeah, definitely one of their best. Ronnie James Dio and Richie Blackmore made a great songwriting pair. I wish they could have done just a little bit more together, but Dio went on to front Black Sabbath, so hey, everybody wins. And of course, Richie eventually returned to Deep Purple for a while before leaving again. But yeah, love Rainbow. It's a great album. Number 4 is, of course, going to be Them by King Diamond. Grandma! The Invisible Guests. Yeah, his high falsettos are great here. And, of course, Andy LaRocque's guitar playing is just on point as always. Just so many immaculate solos and just intros and breakdowns. It's just all awesome. And this is one of the ones where they had Mickey D on drums from Motorhead. So yeah, just a winning lineup. Abigail is my favorite King Diamond album, but this was a very close second. Yeah, Them. And King Diamond's, his haunting, eerie, ghastly vocals and just fascinating, phenomenal songwriting. Just never gets old to me. And gosh, he could sing about tea time and grandmas and make it sound evil and awesome. So, you know, I could listen to this guy read the phone book and, you know, just, yeah. Them by King Diamond. Great, great album. What do you think of that album? Number 3 is going to have to be Master of Puppets by Metallica. Yeah, you knew this had to be on here. Another one of the best thrash metal albums ever. I just love it. This was the last Metallica album, in my opinion, that I consider truly magnificent. And Justice for All was great too, but this is the last time I think they were really, really, really good. And I'm still not tired of this album. I wore it out. I listened to it a whole lot. I listened to it ad nauseum, but I'm still not sick of it. Yeah, of course we got Battery, the title track, A Thing It Should Not Be, Welcome Home, Disposable Heroes. Really cool instrumental, yeah, Orion, and Damage Incorporated, which is probably my favorite song on the album. It closes the album, and yeah, it's just sick. Yeah, back then they just loaded all their songs with so many different riffs, like as many riffs as possible. And I think they used so many riffs they ran out of ideas for riffs and some of their later stuff. It's like, man, we should save some of those, you know, put them in the bank and recycle them, you know, reuse them later. All right, number 2 is going to be Sin After Sin by Judas Priest. This is easily my top 5 favorite Judas Priest albums. And they were so different back in the 70s. They were, you know, a little more musically intricate, and like the solos were a little more well, like thought out and more structured. And yeah, I like their 80s and 90s stuff too, but I think back then they were just like just on another level, like right up there with, like, you know, the likes of like Led Zeppelin or something like that. But really, I like all their albums, to be honest. You know, I don't think they have a terrible album. And yeah, this one's definitely one of the best. This is a masterpiece. Yeah, of course we got Sinner. Dun, 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 dun. I love that. Oh man, I love that. Diamonds and Rust, which is a really, really beautiful song to cover. Yeah, Starbreaker. Last Rose of Summer, which is a really haunting, really sad, slow, woeful song that really that I find very moving. And of course, yeah, Dissident Aggressor, which was covered by Slayer. Yeah, it's a great album. Some of my favorite Rob Halford vocals, some of my favorite Glenn Tipton and KK Downing solos. Yeah, it's just awesome. Sin After Sin by Judas Priest. Give it a listen if you haven't already. You will not be disappointed. I can promise you that. All right, before we get to the number one choice, which I'm sure you can guess what it is, here's a few honorable mentions. In the Shadows by Merciful Fate. Let's see, Fabulous Disaster by Exodus. Beneath the Remains by Sepultura. Pierce from Within by Suffocation. Under the Sign of Black Mark by Bathory. Agent Orange by Sodom. Terrible Certainty by Creator. Under the Influence by Overkill. Operation Mindcrime by Queensryche. We talked about that in the last Morbid Hour live stream. Check that out. We did it yesterday. It was a lot of fun. Good job, guys. Necroticism by Carcass. Sacred Heart by Dio. And Spiritual Healing by Death. And yeah, there's so many I could choose from, so I'm sure I'm forgetting a few. So check the description for some more honorable mentions. I'll list them as I think of them, because there's a whole lot of great ones. But my number one choice, of course, is an album that I've talked about ad nauseum on this channel. You're probably sick to death of me talking about this album. You're probably like, no, not this again. But it's going to be Master Reality by Black Sabbath. This is my favorite of the Ozzy era, and it's definitely my favorite Black Sabbath album in general. Yeah, some of my favorite Tony Iommi riffs. Ozzy's vocals were great. Of course, we have Sweet Leaf, which is a classic, you know. We have After Forever, which I think is a really underrated song. I love the verse riff. Children of the Grave, which was one of their heaviest and most doomiest songs they had up to this point. Lord of This World, great song. Solitude, which is one of the most beautiful things I ever heard. It's a very sad, very woeful song, and Ozzy gives a really emotive vocal performance. I wish he would have sang like that more often. He did this type of vocals on Planet Caravan from the last album, the previous album, Paranoid, to this. But I wish he would have sang like that more often, because he was really good at it. It really gives me chills. And of course, Into the Void, which has one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Tony Iommi introduction opening riffs. Yeah, Master Reality. Master's a appropriate word, because this is definitely a masterpiece, just like Master of Puppets is. Alright guys, well, thank you for watching my video. Let me know what your choices are for your favorite third albums by a band in the comments below. I probably won't do any more of these. I'm probably going to look at the fourth albums or fifth albums or sixth albums, unless I get really bored and just decide to, you know, if I just say, why the hell not? But as of right now, I think this is probably going to be it. I've got other better ideas for videos coming soon that I'm planning. So, alright guys, well, thank you once again for watching the Horror and Metal channel. I'm Hellhound. Till next time, later.